Hey beauties, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today, I thought of doing a comparison between the Dior and Charlotte Tilbury glow filters. So Charlotte Tilbury has the Flawless Hollywood filter and Dior came out with this new Forever Glow Star filter. And as we are in that same comparison, we have the Forever Glow Maximizer from Dior and the Hollywood Contour 1 from Charlotte Tilbury, and the blushes to be compared. So let's get right into it. So let's get started with the comparison between Charlotte Tilbury and the Dior Forever Glow new collection. So on this side of my face, I will do the Charlotte Tilbury, and on this side, I will do the Dior. Don't have anything else on my skin right now. I have my sunscreen protection factor 50 and that is all. So let's get started. Let's start with the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Hollywood Flawless filter. It's been around for a while. It's nothing new. It's extremely popular. It does work really well. It says for Superstar Youth Glow. You usually apply it under your foundation and it really gives you that glow, glowy skin, almost dewy skin type of look. So I am using shade 4.5 medium. I'm gonna give it a little shake. And that's the applicator, so quite a big round sponge at the end, and I'm just gonna come on the forehead, and you can see already how it reflects the light, obviously, as you spread it all over. The color will be a little bit more dim, but I like that it gives you a little bit of a bronzing effect as well. So I'm going to use this brush from Real Technique. This is 220 and it's for light layer complexion. I'm just going to spread the Charlotte Tilbury. It spreads really nicely. It's very thin. It really does feel like you're wearing nothing. It really just gives you that nice glowy finish. It dries completely, doesn't stay sticky, which is something that I personally really like. There's no coverage in this. You could decide to wear it on your own, but there's no coverage. It's just gonna give you that glowy and unify a little bit your skin tint, but you're not gonna get any coverage. So now, if I come closer, you can see it does give you a nice glowy skin. Let's try on the other side, the Dior Forever Glow Star filter. So this is shade number 3. It's long wear, 24-hour hydration. It's sublimating fluid, spectacular glow. So a little bit more liquid than the Charlotte Tilbury. I'm gonna use the same brush. So right away, I can tell you the Dior feels more watery, but has a little bit more coverage. And I think the shades are quite close to each other. They're quite a bronzy shade. So yeah, Charlotte Tilbury is completely dry. The Dior is dried as well. So shade wise, it's the same thing. So Dior is shade number 3, Charlotte Tilbury shade 4.5 medium. There's literally no difference, barely no difference on between the both sides of my face. I think the Dior has more coverage. You could more, I'd feel more confident myself to wear just the Dior on its own rather than just the Charlotte Tilbury. The Charlotte Tilbury is really just a light sheen. It's got probably a little bit more reflection in it. And the Dior feels more like a skincare, really hydrating. Charlotte Tilbury, not as much hydrating. And now that both have dried, I think Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit, just a little bit more sticky. Other than that, I don't see a very big difference. Can you guys see a difference? Honestly, I think the difference is in the price and which brand you prefer the most. It's got a so that's the Dior. It's got a really nice subtle glow, whereas Charlotte Tilbury I think shines a little bit more, glow a little bit more. But to be honest, they are so similar. If you blindfold me and you ask me to tell what's the difference, there's no way I could say. For the foundation, I'm gonna do something very light because I want to keep the glow, I want to keep the shine so we can keep comparing. So I'm gonna use Les Beiges from Chanel. It's the Healthy Glow Foundation Hydration Longwear. It's very lightweight. It's almost like a skin tint. I'm gonna use my beauty blender and I've put 1 pump. I'm just gonna spread it all over. And I'm using shade B30. This is just such a good foundation to have in your kit. It's very easy to apply. You could apply it with your hands. It looks great. It gives you that healthy, glowy finish without being too dewy. And it's also great if you want to mix it with your moisturizer. So very good product in my opinion. So foundation is done. You still see the glow from the 2 filters under. And it's gonna dry a little bit, but it's gonna stay very glowy. Now let's do the contour. Let's compare the 2 products against the Charlotte Tilbury, the contour wand. This is shade Fair Medium, and this is not necessarily a contour, this is a multitasking product, but it is shade Bronze, and I really like to use it as a contour. So I think they might be quite similar. So I'm gonna go with the Charlotte Tilbury first. This is a sponge applicator. Just need a little bit more product. Just like so. And on the Dior, it's coming from the bottle directly. It says Spectacular Highlighter, Long Wear, 24 hours hydration. So the applicator is that little from the stick. I'm gonna go directly. So in terms right now, in the shade, I can tell you the Charlotte Tilbury has more ashy and cool tone in it, whereas the Dior has more of a warm tone into it. So I'm gonna blend before it dries. So the Charlotte Tilbury looks quite dark, but once you blend it, it really just melts into your skin and you don't have, it's not a very dark shade. So come here, let's go back on the forehead. It blends really nicely. And it really just gives that nice contour bronzy. If I come closer, you can see. Blends really easily. So let's blend the Dior. So the Dior is definitely darker. Definitely darker. And the shade is, the tone in it is not the same. The Dior is more of a warm, has a little bit more red, I would say, over the Charlotte Tilbury that has more of a cool tone. So the Dior one has more pigment in it. It's more, it shines more, there's more shimmer. It's also a highlighter, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury is really just to contour. It's more of a subtle color. They're both quite similar. It just depends what kind of use you want to make out of them. I think the Charlotte Tilbury, in terms of texture, is the same thing. The Dior, I think, has probably a little bit more hydration in their product. They're closer to skincare than Charlotte Tilbury. But once they are applied, there's not much of a big difference going on. It's more about the undertone in the product itself, where Dior is more of a warm tone, has a little bit more red-ish into it, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury has more ashy in it and is really more of a contour. I wouldn't use it as a highlighter at all. So it really comes down to what kind of product you're looking for, but they're both really nice and easy to work with. So I've let it dry a little just to see, and to be honest, the difference is quite subtle. It's quite small. The Dior side, because of the bronzer, it's more of a bronzer highlighter. It's got more pigment in it, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury, it's really more of a contour. But on the forehead, if you compare side to side, the difference is not big. It really comes down to which one you prefer. I think the Charlotte Tilbury is quite easy to use because you just use the sponge, put it on your face, and then use your brush. Whereas I think with the Dior, you have to be a little bit more precise because the product is more pigmented. So you have to be careful not to put too much at one go. That's probably one of the biggest difference. Otherwise, they feel quite similar on the skin. So when they have dried, I can't really tell you that there's a big difference going on. So for the blush, I have from the Dior Forever Glow Maximizer collection, the shade Rosy. And for Charlotte Tilbury, so we can get something that is quite similar, I'm going to mix the Pillow Talk highlighter with the Pink Pop blush. It should be quite similar. So let's go with the Charlotte Tilbury. I'm gonna come right here, and I'm gonna add my highlighter so we can mix the two of them together and get that shiny glow. Because the Pink Pop from Charlotte Tilbury is matte. So applicator, they're both same thing. So Dior is that wand applicator, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury, it's the classical sponge. I think this is a little bit more clean as a product, whereas these two, Charlotte Tilbury, it's a little bit more messier, if I may say. And I'm going to use this brush to blend them together. gonna blend Charlotte Tilbury first. And once you blend them together, you really get that nice, shiny, glowy blush. It really gives you that nice pop of color. And on the Dior side, the shades are not the same. This is more of a rosy, darker rose shade. And this one is more a pop of rose. Like bubblegum kind of pink. Otherwise, in terms of how it feels on the skin, you know, they're both really easy to apply. They're both really glowy. Again, I don't see much of a difference. It really comes down to what you guys prefer, whatever. I think that the big difference will be probably the price point. For me, the Dior are easier to work with and they're a little bit less mess-free, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury, the sponge and the twisty bit is a little bit more messier, but that's no big deal really. You still have, it's very glowy on both sides. I think the Charlotte Tilbury one are a little bit more sheer than the Dior. If I take a step back, I think Dior has more pigment in the product, has more coverage, whereas Charlotte Tilbury is more light. But that's pretty much the big difference. They both dry completely. It really gives you that dewy, shimmery look. And they are long-lasting product. They are very good product. Extremely similar. So I'm gonna complete my makeup and come back to you. So I finished my makeup for today. I will list down below all the product I've used. So if we go back to our comparison, this side was Dior, this side was Charlotte Tilbury. Honestly, I don't see much of a difference, especially on how the product feels on the face. I've powdered just under my eyes. I didn't powder anything else because I wanted to keep the glow. The only thing, so the few comparisons are obviously the price point. Dior is a bit more expensive. Dior has more of a skincare feel in the product over Charlotte Tilbury. It is proper cosmetic. The glow filter, so the filter itself, so either the Hollywood Flawless filter or the Forever Glow Star filter from Dior, they're both the same. I'm using shade 4.5 for Charlotte Tilbury, shade 3 with Dior. In my opinion, there's no difference. You might feel that Dior has a little bit more hydration and feels a bit more watery, but that is it. That's probably in the composition of the product itself. Charlotte Tilbury probably has more silicone and Dior more water. That's it. I personally prefer the applicator of Dior over the sponge and of Charlotte Tilbury. I feel that the sponge of Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit more messy, and you can't really, if you apply directly, you can't really control. It's a bigger sponge, you can't really control exactly where the product will sit on your face. The glow is equally there. It's shining, it's dewy, it's glowy on both sides. What else can I say? The Forever Glow Maximizer Bronze is a multitask product and has more pigment over the Contour Wand from Charlotte Tilbury. You can see it on my forehead on the Dior side. It's got more pigment, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury, it's more of a subtle contour. So I would say if you're looking for something, obviously Dior is a bit more expensive, But if you're looking for a product that you can use for many things, it could be a blush, it could be a bronzer, you can use it on your body, the Dior will win because it's truly a multitask product over the ones in Charlotte Tilbury that are made for specific use. If you look at the blush, it's a proper blush. You can't really use that anywhere else. Whereas with Dior, it's a blush, but it can also be an eyeshadow. It can be used as a lipstick. It could be used on your body. If you're going for the Charlotte Tilbury, you're gonna have to mix a few of them together like I did to get my cheek with the highlighter. So for Charlotte, you'd have to buy these two to get the result of this one. But in terms of how it feels on the face, it's very much the same. The Rosy Forever Glow Maximizer from Dior has more pigment and the shade is a bit different. It's more of a old rose, whereas this side, it's a proper pop of pink, a more youthful pink. But there are other shades, so it comes down to whatever shade you're after. Otherwise, both sides feel pretty much the same. It feels nice on the face. It really lightweight. I know it's gonna be there for the whole day because I've been using those products for a while now. I like the glow. I like the dewiness of the product. They both have blended really nicely with the foundation I've used from Chanel Beiges. That is a very light coverage foundation. And I didn't use any primer other than my sunscreen. So I don't know. For me, it comes down to personal preference, budget preference, and maybe because this is a little bit more, you'll get more used out of the product because it's a proper multitasking product. Charlotte Tilbury, you need to have more than one to achieve the same result, which will cost you a little bit more at the end, at the equation. Otherwise, very good quality on both product. And I'm really happy with, you know, how it turned out because I don't think I look like a clown. I think I look pretty even on both sides. So guys, let me know in the comments what you think, which one is your favorite, which one you've tried, which one you're saying absolutely no go for me. I'm quite keen to hear and read your comments to see which one is your favorite. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. You hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get a notification every time a new video is being posted. And you can also follow me on social media. And if you've liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching.